I don't think so. And this shows the difficulties that to find the suitable way for the engagement of the MTC on the transitional period. Actually, it went through hard times and a lot of sacrifice from Sudanese people that we shouldn't do, but it went this way, and we should be proud of what we did as Sudanese people. And we just crossed the first hill. Many hills remain to be climbed so as to reach the freedom and justice and peace in Sudan. Sure, Sudan people should feel happy for what they achieved and should feel proud of themselves. But we should also know that we have a lot to do on this road. Hopefully, we learn our lesson through these years of suffering and marginalization and unfair and this actually the unfairness on every aspect on Sudan for gender issues, for marginalized people, ethnic and religion issue. Actually, the government of NIF, Ingaz government, representing a series of failure since our independence. So it's a great start for Sudan people. Let us hope it will be a great day. And
just the beginning.
A historical and a good and a big beginning.
Okay, Professor Muntasir El-Tayeb. Tomorrow, as we all agree that it will be something like a historic day, and some people that are saying they are not celebrating. Actually, they are marking that day because they are feeling the grievances of the martyrs who died till we reach this moment of tomorrow. So that's they try to be skeptical to call it celebration. It's not celebration. It is a benchmark or a landmark on the history of Sudan. Which, but apart from this dark shadow of the grievances of the families of the people who lost their loved ones, and we also lost our loved ones with them. Do you think the absence of the revolutionary front will add to this darkness or shadow? Because they declared, I heard that they declared, officially declared that they are not going to attend this event. I'm trying to not to say celebration, but to avoid this. This is what I heard this evening. Will that have, in your opinion?
Yes, yeah. It will definitely overshadow the, or it will, in a way, have, let me call it a negative connotation on the whole event and celebration, because people have the right to celebrate. We have very few moments of triumph in our history. This is one of them.
Yeah.
You know, and we need to celebrate.
Yeah.
You know, there is no harm
No,
if you celebrate even going halfway, because revolutions cannot achieve their goals, you know, at one strike.
Yeah.
You know, it's a process. But the point is, for a final victory, people have to have peace. You know, for the transition to start correctly, you cannot start the transition without addressing the issue of peace and without settling the issue of peace. We cannot start the transition having some, you know, serious issues dangling, like the peace, the issue of war.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, as I said, people have the right. You know, people have been in the streets for 9 months now.
9 months, yes.
9 months. Even if you achieve partial success, this is
a day to celebrate.
A day to celebrate. So I'm not.
So you are asking people not to be so sentimental or so emotional, to offset the
No, the sentimentality.
beauty of this day, the
No,
historic
in fact,
day.
those martyrs would have liked us to celebrate. Because this is their day, and I don't know, is it Al-Fayturi or who, when Wardi sang, and for this day,
For this day,
you are doing efforts and you are working for it. You are talking about independence. So this is the day those martyrs they are working for. They were not working for the revolution to go.
Best for everyone.
Yes, and bust, and nothing to be achieved.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
is the major worry, that not all revolutions succeed. I mean, the Algerians have been together with us on this, and they haven't reached a goal
Till now, yeah.
till now. So not all revolutions by necessity succeed.
Succeed, yeah. But the beauty of this move, it went on very calculated steps since December last year on the big, strong slogan of peaceful demonstrations. No way, nobody can use any excessive force, although they used it, but the peaceful slogan, the peace slogan of the demonstrations was one of the tools which made this success in changing a very powerful regime. What do you think, Engineer Mohammed?
In fact, this will put us on the history of the human being, not only the Sudanese history. To be that committed to the non-violence way of demonstrating and the mass people, though the aggressiveness of the previous regime against those peaceful demonstrators in the streets, we were so committed with the peaceful ways of expressing our refusal for this government. And this is not only us should celebrate it. I guess all the world should do this, all the human beings. Sudanese revolution came while we saw that how it ends for the Arab Springs in many countries. If we look at Syria, Libya, and Yemen, there's a wars everywhere. We cannot say that as Sudanese we did not experience the war because we have a civil war since 1955. We know this. We know where the civil war could take you. And this is what makes the Sudanese people really benefit from their own experience to insist and continue for 8 months non-violence war against a dictatorship. And I guess we give the whole world the hope that non-violence could work. And this is something not only us should celebrate, those are sadness, but everyone, every human being should do so.
That's good. Dear Mohamed Farouk Salman, this is good, but I want to add another phenomena. I call it a phenomena, which I don't think it happened in the history, the near history of in the international community, which is the contribution of Sudanese in exile, Sudanese in Europe, Sudanese in America, millions. For the first time, I don't think this has ever happened to a country except Sudan. People started talking about this. Even some journalists, international journalists, they were admiring the Adbara train. They call it as something, the most beautiful scene in a revolution, to see a train like this. This gives our revolution a very important depth, that people are connected outside, and this is the social fabric. This is the phenomena, and this is the thing which distinguishes the Sudanese people from others, that the social fabric is still tight and still good, even if people are not in the same geographical area, but they are still connected. So what is your comment on this phenomena?
There is a plethora of interesting phenomena on this revolution that is yet to be written and analyzed. And as usual, we haven't done enough. I mean, writing about the whole phenomenon of the revolution, understanding it, and then looking at different manifestations of these phenomena. What you are talking about is something that I see, I can call it the lost cause, you know, the defiance of what people thought as a lost cause. They thought that this generation is a lost cause. The generation that grew in Inghaz, indifferent, self-centered, whatever the elder generations saw them, tend to be wrong.
Yes.
Also, those who left the country, they don't care. It tend to be wrong. You know, as you said, the demonstration in Washington D.C. is one of the biggest.
One of the biggest.
Biggest. You know, the Ethiopians contributed to change through social media, but not with mass rallies at that scale.
Yeah.
So it tend also to be that those people who left Sudan, who migrated under the pressure of Inghaz, impoverishment, political oppression, whatever, they are not really, they didn't give up on their country. So
still connected to the country.
Still connected. So this gives us now a lot of hope for the new government. And they are, in fact, they expressed in many opportunities their eagerness to contribute, substantially to the change. Even young Sudanese who are born abroad and who haven't seen the country, they are overzealous to contribute to this change. This is something really phenomenal, as you said.
Very touching. I saw the rallies and the marches and the flags of the country. It was really touching. Engineer Mohamed Farouk, as the professor Muntasir commended this phenomenon of Sudanese are still connected even outside. Do you think that the contribution or participation of some of those who were out of the country, exiled, including the nominated prime minister, what does this mean to you? That not only the prime minister, some other of them nominated, not yet till now, till this moment, not yet finally concluded, but the nominated or the names which appeared in the media, but maybe the Prime Minister Hamdouk is almost confirmed. What does this mean to you, that some of them, or almost maybe half of them, were not living in Sudan while the revolution was in the streets?
Let me first confirm what Professor Muntasir said. Actually, this is large number of Sudanese people outside Sudan in the cultivation of the Inghaz regime, because, for example, Professor Dr. Hamdouk, in fact, being dismissed from the service from Sudan early 1990s. And this applied for many Sudanese who are now in exile. And this is might explain this is strong engagement on revolution, because most of those are sons of people who've been fired and dismissed from services and being forced to went outside Sudan. It's not their choice. I guess not only Hamdok, not only those who've been nominated for the government, many of the Sudanese who built their career outside Sudan during the ages of, let us say, the dark ages of Sudan, because of the collapse of the universities and education and other things, they have a role to come back, and not only to do this role through the desk of the administration of the government. They should work on many areas and many fields to really celebrate for growing up Sudan. I don't think this reflects any problem, because Sudanese people show a cohesiveness between themselves. Even if we talk about the armed groups, they were committed to a ceasefire among the days of the revolution, the peaceful revolution, though this was being declared between the previous regime. But after the revolution, won and start to this transitional, difficult transitional period, they committed to this. And as Dr. Muntasir said, this is going to be another day of celebration on this walk when we achieve it with everyone on Sudan, because one of the main goals for this revolution is to have peace. Actually, this is came and actually after the freedom we are saying we have been calling for peace. The last thing gonna be the justice, and this is actually will heal a lot of injuries and graveness made for our people in Sudan. And I think this is show the role of every Sudanese people being not doing their role on the Sudan on building, and due to the wrong policies and the nature of dictatorship. Now we want them all to participate on Sudan, and this is how the successful state that actually gives the opportunity for its citizens. And now I guess they create it and they give it also to non-Sudanese, and we do this role on the ribbon.
Very good, very interesting. But I want to ask Professor Muntasir a very interesting question, which is related to his specialization as a professor in genetics.
He's a name on the website.
He's a name, he's a big name, as I know. He's a scholar in this field of the genetics. Will the genetics of these people who lived outside or were absent in Sudan for quite a long time, they did not really touch or experience the hardships which been encountered by most of the Sudanese or the young revolutionaries. This hardship, it was really very, very tough days in all directions, in getting the food, the commodities, in the trying to make ends meet between the income and expenditure and things. These people were totally in a totally different environment, different cultures. Will those who are gonna participate, including the Prime Minister Hamdou, will this have any effect on their performance as ministers or prime minister?
This is a quiz that I was not prepared to answer. It's an interesting question as a research project, but let me tell you, you mentioned a very important word, which is the environment.
Yeah.
Because in genetics, you inherit your you're hardwired with your genes, but these genes, to operate, they need an environment. It has been shown that people who migrate, for example, to Holland and Europe, they experience different. If they are coming from Ghana, for example, or Sudan, they experience different set of physical and mental illnesses due to their.
Yeah,
so it's a very interesting area. As far as the performance, Hamdok has been working most of the time in Africa, so he's not far away from Sudan. So I don't expect to have different, in performance. But what we need now, if you allow me, taking this issue of the performance of the individual, what we need to invest on is how we improve our institution and system. So if even a white British who came and worked in Sudan, that has been in the past, the administration of Sudan was working, like a clock, because of the system. So now our challenge is to invest on the system. So no matter who occupies a certain post, the system can
controlled by the system.
Can compensate. Those call them meritocrats or experts. Some of them are some of the top in the world. A person like Mo Ibrahim contributed to the invention of the mobile phone. which is one of the most important inventions nowadays. They are eager to come. There is a workshop in a couple of days organized by Association of Sudanese Professors in the American universities. And they want to contribute their advice, and I think we need to find a way. It's about the ministerial advisory groups, this workshop. We need to find the means and ways of how to incorporate these.
So they don't need a rehabilitation?
You can put them in a week.
A week of rehabilitation.
A week of rehabilitation. You know, and see what happens.
Okay, that's very interesting. Very, very.
All the country needs rehabilitation.
All the country. Okay, dear Mohamed Farouk. Now we go to the challenges ahead. All of us, we can see there are a lot of challenges ahead for the government, which many people, many opponents will be watching to see what they can do about some of the chronic problems of the country. What do you think the most important or the most dangerous challenge to the new civilian government?
Okay.
We'll help you.
No problem.
We'll share.
We can share it. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Broadcast. But I think people should consider the issue of development and economical reforming and such things like this as major duty for any government. But it's a revolution, and actually we passed through many conflicts, and we paid a lot to get it. Issues like peace, justice, and our commitment to these two issues are a priority for any success of the civilian government. It's early to call it civilian government because for me, I don't think, yeah, it's mixed, and it's not bad, by the way. The engagement of the military people is not bad because we're in the transitional stage.
Yeah.
Civilian government should come through election, not by
Nomination,
election and nomination. And this is something I want to mention it every time. Many people now actually saying that we don't need politicians, we don't need to come from political parties. As this is something ugly. No, this is not the way. But that should be elected, not selected. And this is why the transitional period should work on it. And because we are saying that we need, first, as I first before, we call for 4 years for the transitional period. Because
4 years, I remember.
Yeah, because actually the civil society in Sudan being an war with the government and being weakened and being distracted as many aspects on the natural and civil life on Sudan. It's good that Sudanese make out of all of this destruction and mess their revolution, and they should step by step when to build a real civilian ruling system. And this is, we should participate with the army, with the armed forces that been on this civil war for many years, and to address all issues that could establish a real armed forces that will not interfere in the political sphere anymore. And this is made for my own opinion by this non-violence revolution and by peaceful, because for Sudanese people now, I don't think even our people who are in the military will think this will make a difference. I will give them a value to rule or to govern. Not anymore. We just came a value rooted in the people. I don't think those young people who grow up, if they went to the military anymore, they will think on a coup or on even to abuse the power that they got by both that they are helping to abuse the right of anyone. This is things we are going to see on the Sudan. People will be highly sensitive against any kind of abuse from the government anywhere. And this is what we shall work on it. This is the civilian state, that you can live with your dignity and you can feel safe and you can feel friendly even with your army people and wherever they are. Peace and justice actually will build this. And this should come a priority for the transitional government.
Okay, that's good. But it occurred to me that the government also will be not guided, but will be under the scrutiny or under the eyes of the revolutionaries, the youth. The youth, they have their own demands, which made them take to the streets, which made them to die, which made them so brave. But any failure or any difficulties or any hurdles for in the civilian government, this traditional government, it might lead to losing some of the momentum of these revolutionaries, which might grow and swell up to resentment, and then taking that to the streets if the government did not meet their demands, especially for alleviating the hardships of living. So, do you think the government will be capable of waiving or lifting these hardships so soon or so quickly, or how long will it take? What is the effect of the foreign policies in expediting the process of relieving the people of the hardships, the present hardship? Till this moment, we are in hardship.
Well, there are few issues that has to be clear and spelled out regarding the government. First, this coming government has to implement the program of freedom and change. This document, the outlines, it has an obligation. It has an obligation, because this is. But secondly, this is not entirely the responsibility of the government alone. We need to, pull out, from the notion that there is a government and there is a people, because this is not a government. It's not an elected government. It's a government that mandated to do a certain job. If this mandate is not supported, doesn't have a popular support enough, the government will not succeed. So there is an obligation. So people, instead of raising the expectation, waiting for things to happen from the government, let us see how all of us can support this government in the coming 3 years, because the success of this government is our success. The failure of this government is our failure.
Yes.
The major challenge, as going back, is, as you said, is the economy. And the economy is, everything is about the economy. All these happy countries in Scandinavia, God did not create them happy. They became happy because they have a viable economy, an economy that can provide a kind of plentiness, of taxation, that everybody can be happy, with the social welfare programs and so on and so forth. That So without a good economy, without an economy that is moving, nothing could be achieved. Not even peace
can be achieved
without the economy. So now, I hope even the armed forces, and I was in whenever I find one of the leaders of the armed groups, the only topic that I raised with him is, or her, is the economy.
Economy.
Is the economy. It's not the security, arrangements or other things, because this is the major challenge. And that's what actually what brought down the previous regime.
Yeah, exactly. But why topple that previous regime? Because one of the reasons, in my opinion, this I'll pass this question to engineers. Farouk, maybe we are both engineers. So, in this, what Professor Muntasir said is okay. That he admitted that, he confirmed that this is a challenge which should be shared by all, not the government, but the government should take the lead. One of the ways of alleviating or relieving or propping the economy is to receive some initial dose of money, cash money, from certain people, because the economy is in the intensive care, so they must give an initial life-saving dose before given the long treatment for the remedy of the
starting capital.
So this is something political, this initial dose political. Now, whether we like it or understand, we have two axes in our region. Two axes at loggerheads. One of the problems of the previous regime or the president, hosted president, is that he tried to stay in the gray area between the two axes. So he failed to get from either axis. Now, will the government or will the policies of FFC allow for such alignment or leaning to one of the axes?
I think these days in Sudan is gone. No more we play a role that as an agency or as a, we will respect the interests of all our neighborhood. We try to affect positively wherever we can do to them, but not the way that Omar Bashir was doing. Sudan relation with foreign countries should be maintained as a country with a country relation, not the government, not the regime. It is something that, as in everywhere in the world, you should respect others, you should respect their security, you should respect their fears, even if they have fears towards you. And you should give them something that makes them feel safe towards you. If we look at this, this is not something that they created, these two axes or whatever happening now around us in the region. This is actually something initiated by our regime on the 30s. We were, this regime of Ingas, we initiated or they did initiate this terrorism around the region. We've been supported many fundamentalism, not only on Arab region or wherever you can see, even in Africa, in 90s. Osama bin Laden was staying in Khartoum, and this is something that we should deal with it, and we should know. The world pay for the evilness act of this government, not only us as Sudanese people. So this is something need different concept from how Bashir was dealing with the world around us. We want to be friendly to everyone. We don't have any agenda through the world or to export our revolution anywhere. We are just concerned to live together as Sudanese and to live in peace as Sudanese and with everyone around us. To see what we need to start for our economical reforming, I think there are many issues that if being addressed correctly by the government, they're going to be a good saving of money. Let us see first the war. If the war is stopped, I think it's a hell of money. Yeah. Corruption. In fact, Sudan was very rich. And even if we can see how a lot of money of Sudan just being leaked because of the corruption and not going on the state treasury, just going for a pocket of some people. If we look at the gold, the mining, and the way that even there is, as engineer, we know all that there is a big hazard of the health way of this random or what we call popular mining for gold, and even the other natural resources we have in Sudan, if it been managed well, and as you see the revolution that we have a very good rain season. This time, something actually promising. But this is something could save us a lot of money. For sure, we need some support from the international. No doubt of this. And I don't think anyone on the world now will be afraid, because one of the criteria that being made for to have this sort of support or finance is that they are not trusted the previous government, because they know 90%, if not all of it, went either to the war or in corruption, for not directly to project or scheme in the country.
So you are optimistic that it
So much.
But I beg to differ, because you are right. We have a lot of resources. Sudan was used to be rich not far long time ago.
I'm not mentioning any investment now. I'm just
Not
saying
investment, not
stop the
investment.
corruption, stop the war.
But you still need, you still Bashmuhandis, you need money. For example, give an example of Egypt. For example, Egypt economy was ailing, was almost collapsing. It was brought by $12 billion in cash by Saudi Arabia, Emirates, and Kuwait, maybe, and three countries. They propped the economy of the Egyptians until this moment. Without these initial dose, Sisi could have not survived till this moment, because the economy could have collapsed, because he already has opponents, the Islamic, the Muslim brothers. They are coherent, and they are still causing some of disturbance to the security of Egypt. Here in Sudan, we cannot stay in the gray between the two axes, because there is a big ideological difference, Professor Muntasir. Big ideological difference between the two axes. One is harboring and is the hub of the international Islamic movement. The other is totally and categorically against this global Islamic movement. So no way to stand between the two, and bearing in mind that what you hosted, or what this revolution is hosted, they hosted the salvation or the Islamic regime. So still do you believe that it will work if they stay in the gray area between the two axes?
Yeah, but I believe if we have a, not only announcing clear foreign policies that is non-aligned and sticking to that, the world will respect it. And furthermore, we need to use the image of the revolution. There is an opportunity now. There is something to sell, about Sudan, to the world, that this is a country that deserve, that this revolution, those young people have to show their admiration in a way, and that by supporting the transition. This is a very, straightforward kind of a bargain with the international community. And I think people are ready. The intricacies of the regional conflicts, which is very kind of tricky, if you can say so, because you say I'm non-aligned. I'm not part of any regional. But the fact, just by the mere fact that you have toppled al-Bashir, you are more close to the other axis.
By default.
By default. You see, the issue now is how to convince, I think we can play a role in that. If Sudan can make a national reconciliation, you know, a political reconciliation that has failed in many countries, including Libya, we can convince the other axis to give up their expansionist, ideological, adventurous policies, because this has proved to be non-productive and a big failure in Libya, in Egypt, in Sudan,
Syria,
Turkey,
Yemen.
and Syria and Yemen.
Yeah.
They have to, people have to address that and talk to them, you know, and we know where is the center of all this is, you know. I don't need
This
to,
is something very interesting, yes.
yeah, to say,
You think one of the ways to
yeah,
get around is to first unite the people here, reconcile all
reconcile
people,
everybody, yeah.
everybody.
You know, including, if you look at the armed movements now in Addis Ababa, some of them are potentially with closer to one of the axes, and the other is closer to the other axis. You know, but the Sudanese phenomena itself is unique. The Sudanese formula, you know.
Okay. This is very, very interesting. This leads me to another question to you. Here you have to prepare yourself for a very strong question about this. Professor Muntasir El-Tayeb mentioned that one of the tools by which we can gain the respect and get the sympathy of others is that we tell them we are now united. Also, except the hostage regime or part of the hostage regime or whatever. But there are, you are in the FFC, Force of Freedom and Change. At the start, some of the groups, Islamic groups, let's say Islamic groups, which were they became actually, they were one unit, but they became anti the NCP, the National Congress Party, and to the ruling regime at that time. The FFC did not welcome them like the popular Congress, like Reform Now. They were eager and they tried their best, and some other Islamic people like Mohamed Ali Jiduli was openly inciting all his followers against the regime. He was one of the most imprudent or apprehended person in the hostage regime. For quite long times he was against. So that's why he was sure he was against the hostage regime. So is the FFC against the hostage regime or against the Islamic groupings?
I will use Muntasir word, the Sudanese phenomenon. Actually, this is something very different, because if we talk to me about Muhammad Ali Jizuli being arrested for a long time, he was ISIS when he had been arrested the first times. But this is show you how we are as Sudanese, and Sudanese from a work. He came against the Islamic regime in Sudan and really struggled against it. And he became, for me personally, one of the most people who support this revolution, by the way, by what he is, by his speech.
Yeah.
We should admit this. And this applied to the youth of popular Congress and Reform Now. They were part of this revolution. And we declared it actually clearly, if you remember, Muntasir, that this road for change actually could occupy everyone, not only for FFC.
Yes.
The point that they create their own from the beginning, from consist of part of Reform Now and FFC and Ummah Party led by Mubarak al-Fadil and some people who were retained from this Khartoum dialogue process, were participating in the government very late actually, came out of the government. You know, during this demonstration and people were playing the club in the street as FFC, and for the revolution starting, you cannot accept at that time.
At that time, we cannot.
Yeah, for sure.
The boiling time.
Yeah, the boiling time. It could not be rational. We are, you know, I'm Sudan Column. I'm Sudanese National Alliance Force, part party part of Sudan called. We signed an agreement with his front, came front, and we were part of FFC. But we did this. There is something we should be aware of it. Even NCB, they should not be aware of the state for lust. They should do a reform and they should be part of the Sudanese space. They are Sudanese, I'm saying.
Yeah.
Only justice. People get accounted for any crime.
Yeah.
They could be isolated, but
Fair,
you cannot say it should be fair.
play.
So this is how we're going to see Sudan in the future. But FSC as a revolutionary body should not put people only because I can agree on this or the political party can agree on this, because actually it is part of the movement on the street, the youth and other things that can lead people to be part of it. At that time, the integrity for anyone to be part of it was set very high. Not everyone is welcome. I guess this is how it was for those people. But I think even on the transitional period, they will be part of the assembly, National Assembly, I think, and they will be part of, if they have any contribution on the constitution building and making and other bodies that on the transition.
That's very interesting.
We are not going to isolate any Sudanese because they participate on the NCP government for a period of time. And this is good. We should be aware of it.
Definitely complementary, or this complement or add, integrated to what Professor Muntasir El-Tayeb said about meeting, to get together so that you can face the world, so that the world with any agenda they cannot get through if you are united. Those who are bad from the previous year, they have to be tried, they have to be trimmed off, they have to be taken away. But in future, it has to be dealt with. So very happy to have you with me this episode. It's a short episode because tomorrow it's time for celebration. We call it celebration, as you told us to say celebration. We hope we meet again after the celebration and after the day of tomorrow parties until the weekend. All structures they are filled. Then we'll have another round of talk next, maybe Friday, to continue on the issues. Now we are just short of time. Thank you, gentlemen. Professor Muntasir El-Tayeb, University of Khartoum, of Genetics, University of Khartoum, Engineer Mohamed Farouk Salman. Both are from the leaders are of the FFC, Forces of Freedom and Change. Thank you, dear viewers, for being with us for almost 1 hour in this episode. Hope to see you